Fedora Workstation is a Linux distribution that's loved by many, and for good reason. Each release brings the latest GNOME desktop on top of an updated base, making it one of the best platforms for exploring cutting-edge Linux technologies as well as development and system administration. That said, not every release is particularly exciting. Sometimes the Fedora project focuses more on incremental updates and under-the-hood improvements rather than headline features, and Fedora 44 is one of those releases. In fact, there's really not a whole lot to get excited about this time around. But does that make it a bad release? Well, today that's going to be the primary question as I bring you my full review of Fedora Workstation 44, which was recently released. As usual, in Fedora 44 we get the latest GNOME desktop and an updated base. But other than that, well, there's not a whole lot to talk about. In fact, this might very well be the most boring release of Fedora that I've ever reviewed on this channel. Well, boring if you're not a Plasma user, that is, but more on that later. Anyway, this focus on incremental improvements is a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, new and flashy features can introduce regressions and bugs, so there's real value in a release that focuses more on under-the-hood improvements rather than trying to reinvent the wheel every time. But on the other hand, Fedora has had a number of smaller releases over the past several years, and is starting to feel like it might be falling a bit behind other distributions. But is that actually a problem in practice? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start the review by going over all the usual stuff that I always go over, like the installation process, the new features, however few new features there might be, and I'll also give you my overall opinion on the new release as well. But then I'm going to compare it to the competition, because I think it's time to see how Fedora stacks up nowadays. But before we dive in, I just want to take a moment and remind you that if you become a channel member, you'll gain access to exclusive perks. The thing is, I put a lot of time and effort into the videos that I produce for Learn Linux TV, and your support helps keep the channel going. There's a number of ways you can help support my work, and one of those is by becoming a channel member. All you have to do is click the join button beneath the video, and membership includes perks like ad-free content, early access to select videos, and more. You'll also gain access to the official Discord channel as well, where you can chat with fellow penguins about our favorite technology. So help out Learn Linux TV in its mission to demystify the world of Linux by becoming a channel member. I would really appreciate that. Anyway, with all that said, it's time to check out Fedora 44, so let's do that right now. And we'll start by checking out the installation process. As I mentioned earlier, Fedora 44 doesn't bring many noticeable changes, and that holds true here as well. The installer is mostly unchanged from previous releases. Like before, the process begins by creating bootable media, and the Fedora project makes that extremely easy with Fedora Media Writer, a dedicated tool that's available for all major operating systems. The tool is very straightforward, it's polished, and honestly, I wish more distributions offered something like this. Once you boot from your installation media, you're dropped into a live environment, which gives you a chance to test hardware compatibility before committing to the actual installation. And when you're ready, launching the installer is simple, and all you have to do is answer a few questions to get Fedora installed, and the process completes without much effort. And existing Fedora users have it even easier. After Fedora 44 was released, I opened GNOME Software and saw a banner on the Updates tab offering the upgrade. Once I clicked on it and confirmed, the upgrade completed without any issues. And that really sums it up. Unchanged doesn't always mean bad. Whether you're installing fresh or upgrading an existing system, the experience is smooth from start to finish. And Fedora Media Writer, in particular, continues to stand out as one of the better onboarding tools in the Linux space. And once installation completes, you can check out Fedora 44 and all of its new features. So what kinds of things do you have to look forward to in this release? Well, not a whole lot. You see, most of the new features in this release actually come from GNOME 50, which is the latest version of the desktop environment as of the time I'm recording this. And while GNOME 50 does include some genuine improvements, those changes are part of GNOME, not Fedora specifically. And what this means is that while Fedora 44 does benefit from improvements to graphics, animations, and core applications, other distributions that use GNOME 50 will be getting those same features as well. But to be fair, improvements are improvements. So let's take a look at some of the new enhancements that we have to look forward to in GNOME 50. And one of the biggest areas of improvement has to do with graphics performance. GNOME 50 includes things like native fractional scaling, reduced mouse cursor latency, performance improvements for NVIDIA users, as well as better HDR support. There's actually quite a bit happening here, and since multiple graphics-related improvements landed in one release of GNOME, many users should notice smoother performance overall. Accessibility has also seen some meaningful updates in GNOME 50. It's essentially more consistent. There are system-wide accessibility settings, along with features like automatic language switching and a more unified experience when enabling these options in the first place. Beyond that, there's a number of smaller improvements as well, things like smoother animations and better performance when browsing network shares, especially when dealing with large directories. And overall, GNOME 50 does bring some solid improvements. But whether or not you'll actually notice them will depend a lot on your hardware and how you use your system. Normally, Fedora is the sum of all of its parts. Each release typically includes improvements from both GNOME and Fedora itself, and that combination is a big part of what makes Fedora such a strong distro. But in the case of Fedora 44, when it comes to improvements that users will actually notice, most of those come from GNOME alone. So I guess the question is that a bad thing? Well, let's talk about that. First, it's important to point out that Fedora 44 does include improvements across the board, especially under the hood. We're getting updated development tools, refinements to core technologies, and some architectural changes as well. But the reality is, you may or may not actually notice any of that in day-to-day use, especially when it comes to desktop users. And the thing is, that in and of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. And one of the advantages of a boring release like this one is that fewer major changes usually means fewer opportunities for instability. We don't always need something new and flashy. What matters most is that the system works reliably and it helps us get our work done. And when it comes to that, Fedora 44 does a fantastic job. And I've tested this release thoroughly. I've set up several new installations, and I've also upgraded previous machines from Fedora 43. And at no point did I run into any issues at all. In fact, even my automation environment didn't need any adjustments. Since not much has changed this time around, my existing configuration worked exactly as expected. After installation was done, I did notice very subtle performance improvements, but nothing major. Now, to be fair, my hardware is already fairly capable, so it's not like Fedora is pushing it very hard in the first place. And in a sense, not noticing anything is actually a positive outcome. There weren't any crashes or slowdowns. I have nothing negative to report when it comes to performance. We'll get back to the video in just a moment, but first I wanted to let you guys know about something really awesome, Flox. If you've ever worked with containers like Docker to manage your development environments, then you already know they could be powerful, but also a bit heavy and sometimes overkill depending on what you're trying to do. And that's where Flox takes a different approach. Flox gives you reproducible and declarable development environments, but without needing you to build and manage container images. Instead, you define exactly what your environment needs, and it just works consistently across your system. Flox gives you reproducible and declarable development environments, but without you needing to build and manage container images. Instead, you define exactly what your environment needs, and it just works consistently across your system. And that means whether you're working locally, running things in CI, or deploying to production, you're using the exact same setup every time. And that helps eliminate those "it works on my machine" problems. And it even works across different systems and architectures, so your environment stays consistent no matter where it's running. This could be especially useful if you're part of a team or even managing shared environments, since everyone could stay on the same setup without having to manually sync configurations. So if you're looking for a cleaner, more lightweight alternative to managing environments with containers, this is definitely worth checking out. And they actually have a quick Flox in 5 minutes guide that walks you through how it all works. And I'll have a link for that down in the description. So check out Flox and see how easy it could be to manage your software and dependencies. And now, let's get back to the video. That said, while stability is great, there is a downside when it comes to having too many incremental releases. If the focus stays on small changes for too long, the project can start to feel a bit stale. In fact, there's been times where my Fedora Workstation reviews went out later than usual, simply because it was difficult to find meaningful changes to talk about. And this review is an example of that. Now, of course, you can make the argument that if a distribution doesn't have any major problems, then change is pretty much unnecessary. But the thing is, when it comes to Fedora, it's far from perfect. And in fact, there are some key areas where the desktop experience in Fedora could actually use some attention. And one example of that is the experience for NVIDIA users. Earlier, I mentioned that GNOME brings performance improvements for NVIDIA hardware, and that's great. But in practice, those improvements won't always matter as much as they should because the default driver that Fedora uses isn't capable of delivering the best performance anyway. Fedora relies on the open source NVIDIA driver by default, which means you might not fully benefit from those improvements unless you install the proprietary driver. Now, to be clear, that's not unusual, and it's not necessarily a problem on its own. And installing the proprietary driver does actually solve the issue. But the process on Fedora is more complicated than it needs to be, and other distros handle this much more smoothly. Ubuntu, for example, offers proprietary drivers directly through its Software and Updates tool, allowing you to install them with just a few clicks. Pop! OS goes even further by offering a dedicated NVIDIA edition that's pre-configured out of the box. With Fedora, on the other hand, you still need to add a third-party repository and go through additional steps that other distributions don't require. And the thing is, I fully understand why that's the case. When it comes to Fedora, it's sponsored by Red Hat, and Red Hat, well, they want to showcase open source software, and they don't really like the proprietary software all that much. Now, to be fair, I don't either, but the reality is, often we do have hardware where a proprietary driver is required in order to get the best experience. It's just the way it is. And from a user experience standpoint, this approach can feel unnecessarily restrictive, especially for users who just want their hardware to work as expected. So instead of focusing solely on incremental updates, this might be an area where Fedora could improve the overall experience. And when you compare Fedora to other distributions, this becomes even more noticeable. For example, Ubuntu has made progress in areas like ROCm support for AMD GPUs, making it easier for users to take advantage of that hardware. On Fedora, achieving a similar setup can actually be a bit of a pain. And in some cases, the experience can be so frustrating that the community will end up building workarounds themselves, such as helper tools specifically designed to get applications like DaVinci Resolve running properly. And when users have to rely on third-party tools and hacks just to get common workflows working, that's usually a sign that something needs to be improved upstream. And because of that, it can start to feel like other distros are moving ahead when it comes to desktop usability, while Fedora is, well, staying exactly where it is. When it comes to Ubuntu, whether you're a fan or not, they have legitimately made a number of changes aimed at improving the desktop experience, along with introducing more user-facing features. Meanwhile, Fedora's continued focus on incremental updates raises the question of whether the project might eventually have much more ground to cover if it does decide to shift direction later on. It might be a bit of a workload. Now, when it all comes down to it, Fedora is still my daily driver distro. It's what I prefer on all of my systems. But the thing is, I'm an expert user, so the challenges that I've mentioned don't really slow me down all that much at all. Actually, they don't. I've automated basically everything, so I don't even have much in the way of work to do. But I often think of the beginner or general user and the type of experience that they might have. And honestly, I think Fedora is a bit more complicated than it needs to be. But you know what? There is actually one part of Fedora 44 that feels genuinely new and exciting, and that's the Plasma spin. In many releases, it feels like the flagship GNOME edition gets most of the attention, but this time around, KDE Plasma users are the ones getting some of the more noticeable improvements. For starters, there's a brand new login manager, along with a more polished onboarding experience the first time you log in. The overall experience also feels more unified and consistent in this release, and in previous versions, it wasn't uncommon to end up with a mix of GNOME and KDE applications that made things feel a bit stitched together, but this time, Plasma feels more cohesive, more like a fully integrated desktop rather than a collection of parts. Also, Fedora 44 ships with Plasma 6.6, which at least in this release in particular, brings more visible features than GNOME does. You get things like QR code support for connecting to Wi-Fi, per-application audio controls, and various usability improvements throughout the desktop, and there's actually a lot more. Plasma 6.6 is a pretty big release. So, if you prefer Plasma over GNOME, then Fedora 44 actually has quite a bit to offer. So overall, Fedora 44 is unfortunately a mixed bag. On one hand, it has the important bases covered. It's stable, it's reliable, installations are easy, upgrades actually work, so there are some great things to say about Fedora. The fact that it works, and it works well, is very awesome. But on the other hand, if Fedora continues down the path of incremental releases for too long, they're going to let other distributions get so far ahead of them that there just won't be much reason to use Fedora anymore, especially since most of the setup nowadays is easier in other distributions. So when it all comes down to it, for this release cycle, I think Ubuntu 26.04 has Fedora beat. It not only has a longer support window, it actually has more features, it has more GPU updates, it's just better overall, and that's actually surprising because in my opinion, usually Fedora beats Ubuntu, but I guess this is the exception. But then again, if you're a Plasma user, then you're very happy right now. Anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this review or Fedora in general down in the comments below, and also be sure to subscribe to Learn Linux TV for the latest in Linux. I release new Linux-related content each and every week. Anyway, thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you in the next one.